She was the queen of the most powerful empire, yet she chose torture over luxury, faith over fear. This is the shocking truth about Pharaoh's wife, Asiya, the incredible life story of Hazrat Asiya, the woman praised by Allah in the Quran. For every Pharaoh there is always an Asiya who stands against him, the queen of paradise who turned away from all wealth and power, and who shouted her faith against Pharaoh, who said, "I am your Lord." It was not going to be easy to stand against the Pharaoh, especially to protect the believers. The first woman to believe in Musa, one of the 4 women chosen for paradise, the great woman whom Musa called, "My mother after my own mother," a tower of patience who never gave up her devotion to her Lord despite all the torture. A shining example of taqwa praised in the Quran for the believers, the beloved queen of the palace, the wife of Pharaoh, Asiya. Asiya was not a prophet, not a daughter of a prophet, and not a granddaughter of a prophet. She was the wife of a cruel, despotic dictator, a queen, a lady of the palace. She had everything, but she left it behind because of her belief. Once again, we bring you a shocking story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video to support us. Rasulullah, peace be upon him, said many men reached perfection, but among women only Asiya, the wife of Pharaoh, and Maryam bint Imran reached perfection. Here, reaching perfection means rising to the highest level in all virtues and piety. The life of Asiya is mentioned in the Quran as the wife of Pharaoh. Her real name was Asiya bint Muzahim. She lived in the 13th century before Christ. The great-grandfather of Asiya, Walid, was the Pharaoh of Egypt during the time of Yusuf A.S. It is also narrated that Asiya was the aunt of Musa A.S., and that she believed in him. Pharaoh was the husband of Asiya. He had a crown decorated with precious jewels and pearls, and he ruled a great kingdom. According to the narrations, his grand crown and his large body made him look very impressive to people. His throne stood 4 steps above the ground. The surroundings of his throne were covered with beautiful cushions and soft carpets, arranged for his ministers to sit and for visitors to be hosted. When Pharaoh spoke to someone, they would listen with fear. Because of this fear, people started to praise him and attribute qualities to him that he did not really have. Seeing this, Pharaoh began to claim divinity and tried to protect the traditional belief in idols by exploiting people's feelings. Taking advantage of the people's backwardness and ignorance, Pharaoh did not only claim to be a god, but even said, "I am your supreme lord." While Pharaoh was such a low and evil person, his wife Asiya was a symbol of purity, honesty, chastity, and nobility. While people could not even breathe freely because of Pharaoh's fear and could not sleep peacefully at night, Asiya lived with full faith in Allah and with self-confidence. Even though she lived so close to Pharaoh, she was not frightened at all. The dream of Pharaoh woke up from his sleep one night filled with fear and panic. He sat on the edge of his bed, breathing heavily, as if he was going through the pain of death. This fear made Pharaoh fall deep into his thoughts because he had seen a terrible dream. In his dream he saw a fire appearing and burning down all the houses and palaces in Egypt. He saw that all the people of Egypt were destroyed and nothing was left of them. He told these things to his wife Asiya, and when the morning came, he decided to call the chief priest and tell him the dream as well. The chief priest came to Pharaoh with great humility. He lifted his head towards him with a humble look and started praising Pharaoh while bowing down. Pharaoh told him to stand up straight and listen carefully. "Oh, priest, I've seen a terrible dream. Almost every night I see the same dream. I wake up in fear and panic," Pharaoh said. The priest interpreted the dream like this: "My master, a child will be born among Bani Israel. This child will cause the destruction of you, your house, and your family." A deep fear came over Pharaoh. After the priest left the room, Pharaoh started walking around in sadness because of what he heard. He had to find a solution quickly to protect his wealth, position, and kingdom, and to make sure his throne would not be taken away. He could not forget for even a moment what the priest had said. Finally, Shaitan showed him a way. To save himself and his great kingdom, all the male children born among Bani Israel had to be killed. After all, the people of Bani Israel were already being used as slaves. What difference would it make if they died? Because of this fear, Pharaoh ordered that the girls would be left alive, but every male child must be killed one by one. In the Quran, it is mentioned like this: "Remember when we saved you from the family of Pharaoh, who was punishing you with the worst torment, killing your sons and letting your women live. In this, there was a great test from your Lord for you. The killing of the male children of Bani Israel made the Egyptian Copts very upset. They said that because the number of Bani Israel was getting smaller every year, they could no longer find enough people to work as servants in their homes and fields. Because of this, Pharaoh ordered that the male children should be killed once every 2 years. Meanwhile, far from the eyes of others, something was being prepared. The time for Yabit to give birth was getting close. She did not know what to do. With all her effort, she had managed to hide herself from those who were watching the pregnancies of the women of Bani Israel. Yabit trusted a loyal friend who helped her hide her pregnancy. This woman came to visit her often during the last months of her pregnancy. Finally, Yabit gave birth to a baby boy. He was a very beautiful baby. She named him Musa. She was so happy, as if the whole world was hers. But when she thought about the fact that this beautiful child could also be taken away and killed, her joy did not last long. As the hours passed, the fear in her heart grew stronger. She was afraid that her baby would be taken from her. Not knowing how to protect her child, Yabit almost lost her mind from sadness. She started to pray to Allah, asking him to show her the right way and to protect her baby from the cruelty of Pharaoh. She prayed a lot. In the end, she became very tired and weak. She fell asleep with the hope that some help would come to save her from this heavy sadness. When she woke up, she felt a great peace in her heart. It was as if all the heavy burdens had been lifted. Now she knew what she had to do. Allah had commanded her to put her baby in a box or a small chest and leave him in the river without fear and with full trust in Allah. She called her daughter and told her to bring a small chest quickly. She placed the baby inside it. With great mercy and love, she held her child one more time, kissed him, smelled him, kissed him again, and smelled him again. With tears in her eyes, she placed her son Musa into the chest and let it float on the waters of the Nile River. She cried as she watched it drift away. The waves of the Nile slowly started carrying the chest. The mother, who had left her baby in the Nile without knowing where he would go, cried deeply with the pain of separation. Allah gave her heart, patience, and the light of certainty. She leaned on her Lord and trusted him. What else could have comforted her anyway? With hope, the mother went to the sister of Musa and asked her to follow the chest and not take her eyes off it, even for a moment. This way they could find out where the waves of the Nile would carry him. That day, Pharaoh and his wife Asiya were sitting by the Nile during the mid-morning time. They were enjoying the bright beauty of the sun and feeling the cool air. Many servants and people from the palace were around them. Suddenly Asiya noticed something floating by the edge of the Nile. As it came closer, it became clear what it was: a wooden chest. Asiya called one of the servants and ordered him to bring the floating chest to her immediately. When Asiya opened the chest, she saw something she did not expect: a baby still at the nursing age, shining like light. The baby quickly became the center of everyone's attention. Everyone was saying, "Look at the beauty of this baby. What kind of hard-hearted person could leave him in the water?" Everyone around was interested in the baby. Some were playing with him, some were making him laugh, and some were lifting him up joyfully. When Asiya held the baby in her arms, she felt a strange emotion in her heart. The baby's face looked like that of the people of Canaan. She thought, "This must be one of the children of Bani Israel. He had just been born." She began to wonder how he could have escaped from the soldiers. By the permission of Allah, the river had brought the chest right to the palace of Pharaoh. Allah had decided to protect him. Whatever Allah wills will surely happen. Soon she would see this with her own eyes, but for now she was unaware. When Asiya brought the baby to the palace, Pharaoh wanted to kill him, but Asiya stopped him. "Do not kill him," she said. "I see in him a high and bright intelligence, and he looks better than others. Besides, he can be a comfort for us. Maybe one day he will benefit us. Or we can adopt him as a son, can't we?" Pharaoh usually did not refuse Asiya's wishes. When he saw how much she wanted the baby, he ordered that the baby be given to her protection. This is how, by the permission of Allah, Musa was saved from being killed by Pharaoh. Asiya looked at the baby in her arms with mercy and started thinking. She was gently touching his hair with compassion. Allah had placed love for this baby in her heart. It felt as if he was her own child. Suddenly the baby started crying loudly. Assia tried to calm him by whispering sweet words, singing lullabies and rocking him, but nothing worked. The baby would not stop crying. He was hungry and needed someone to breastfeed him. He was still too small. Because of this, a message was sent to the city to find a woman who could nurse the baby. Finally, a woman was found to breastfeed the baby. She took the hungry, crying baby in her arms and tried to feed him. But the baby refused to take her milk. She tried again and again, but it did not work. Here another plan of Allah was happening. Assia said, "Servants, find another woman. Don't you see he will die from hunger?" Another wet nurse came and also tried to feed the hungry baby, but she was not successful either. Assia said, "Bring every woman who has recently given birth and has milk. Even if you have to force them, bring anyone who can breastfeed." So they brought many women. Each woman tried one by one to feed the crying, struggling baby, but none of them could succeed. The baby kept crying loudly. Assia was very confused about what to do with this baby who would not accept any milk and kept crying from hunger. How could this be? Why was he refusing all of them? The sister of Musa had been secretly following everything from the time he was put in the river until he was taken by Assia. She heard that her brother refused to take milk from any woman. She realized that this was a perfect chance to bring Musa back to his real mother. She quickly went to Assia and said, "Just as it is mentioned in the Quran, shall I show you a family who will take care of him for you and treat him kindly?" Assia said, "Yes. This child's crying is breaking my heart. His tears make me very sad. Let's do it immediately." The sister of Musa quickly left the palace and went home. She told her mother everything that had happened, took her hand, and brought her to the palace of Pharaoh. Assia handed the baby to his mother, Yabit. The moment his mother took him in her arms, the baby stopped crying. He became silent. Longing for his mother, the baby smelled her and turned his head from side to nurse. Finally, he drank her milk deeply and peacefully. Assia was very pleased with the arrival of this woman. When she saw that she was able to nurse the baby, she gave her a place in the palace and asked her to take care of him. Now the mother of Musa could see her son every day and live peacefully. The little child of the palace, Musa, won the hearts of everyone with the love of his mother and the affection of Queen Assia. Musa had reached the age when he could walk. One day, when Pharaoh took him in his arms, Musa pulled and yanked at his beard. Pharaoh almost lost his mind because of what Musa did. Pharaoh became very angry. Deep thoughts came into his heart. He was always afraid of losing his wealth, his throne, and his kingdom. A thought came to him from Shaitan. This child might be the one from my dreams, the one who will take away my kingdom and my throne. He said, but Assia quickly jumped up and said, Pharaoh said, Assia said, Pharaoh said, Assia said calmly, he does not have any understanding yet. Let me prove it to you. Look, we will put a few pieces of jewels and valuable things on one plate, and on another plate we will put a few pieces of burning coal. If he reaches for the jewels, then he is a smart child, and you can kill him. But if he leaves the jewels and reaches for the burning coal, then you will know he is still just a baby who doesn't know anything. Pharaoh liked this idea and agreed. The plates were brought, and as always, by the permission of Allah Ta'ala, a wise event was about to happen. Musa alayhi salam was about to reach for the jewels when Allah Ta'ala turned his hand towards the burning coal. Musa alayhi salam picked up a burning coal and brought it to his mouth, burning his tongue. It is said that this is the reason why Musa alayhi salam later had a slight speech difficulty. After this event, Musa would grow up in the palace of Pharaoh under the protection of Assia, and he would see her like a mother. The faith of Assia. After Musa alayhi salam grew up in the palace, one day during a fight, he accidentally killed the baker of Pharaoh. When this news spread, Pharaoh and his people demanded the death of Musa in return for the life he had taken. Because of this, Allah inspired Musa to leave Egypt. Musa left the city and went to the land of Madian, where he settled. Later, he got married there and lived for many years. After many years, Musa set out to return to Egypt with his wife and family. On the way near Mount Tur, he saw a fire. When he approached it, Allah gave him revelation. Allah chose him as a prophet and ordered him to go to Pharaoh and free Bani Israel. Allah also gave Musa two great miracles. When he threw his staff on the ground, it turned into a snake. And when he put his hand inside his shirt and pulled it out, It appeared shining white and bright. Musa went to the palace of Pharaoh with his brother Harun. He delivered the message of Allah and showed his miracles. But Pharaoh called these miracles magic and decided to gather the best magicians in the country so that the people would not believe Musa. A day was set. The people gathered and Musa faced the magicians. Before the competition started, Asiya began to pray with deep longing and hope. She prayed for a long time. Those who saw her thought she was praying for the success of Pharaoh's side, but in reality she was praying for Musa to win. Then the day came when Musa and the magicians stood facing each other. Asiya watched them from the palace balcony. First, the magicians threw their ropes and sticks, and with magic they made it look like these objects were moving. Then Musa threw his staff, and by the permission of Allah, his staff swallowed everything the magicians had created. When the magicians saw this, they understood the truth. They immediately fell in sujud and believed in the Lord of Musa. This made Pharaoh very angry. He threatened the magicians and tried to scare them with punishments, but they did not give up their faith. At that very moment, when she witnessed this miracle, our mother Asiya also said, "I believe in the Lord of Musa and Harun." Of course, she was not the only one. Many people among the crowd who saw this miracle also started to believe in Musa. Pharaoh was capturing these people and torturing them. Because of this, many believers were worshipping in secret. One of them was Asiya. She was a sincere woman, firm in her faith. When it was time for worship, she would find an excuse, even if she was in the palace near Pharaoh, and she would go to her room and secretly pray to Allah. Asiya continued to hide her faith and worship for a long time. There were others in the palace who believed secretly too. One of them was a woman named Mashita, who was responsible for combing Pharaoh's daughter's hair. One day Mashita dropped the comb. She picked it up while saying Bismillah, in the name of Allah. The daughter of Pharaoh asked, "Do you mean in the name of my father?" Mashita answered, "He is my Lord and your father's Lord too." When the girl heard this, she went and told her father. Pharaoh then ordered a large copper furnace to be made and heated. He commanded that Mashita and her baby be thrown into it. First, Mashita was threatened that her baby would be thrown into the fire to make her give up her faith. But Allah helped Mashita, and her little baby spoke to her. He said, "Be patient because you are on the truth." Hearing this, Mashita agreed to be thrown into the furnace together with her baby. Through this sacrifice, she reached paradise. Here we want to open a small note. Years ago, a young girl who had died in a fire appeared in the dream of a Muslim. The girl said that even though people said she died burning, she was surprised because she did not feel it. She explained that now she was in a very beautiful place, filled with peace. So even if we see them being burned with our eyes, only those people in Allah know what they truly feel. Yes, Allah is full of mercy. The spiritual state of Asiya and her reaction. Asiya was watching everything from the palace window. When Mashita was killed, Asiya saw that their souls were raised to the heavens. This sight made her faith in Allah even stronger and her devotion even deeper. While she was in this spiritual state watching the angels, her husband Pharaoh suddenly entered the room. He started telling her about Mashita, how they had tortured her. After Pharaoh finished speaking, Asiya said, "Shame on you! Woe to you, Pharaoh! How can you dare to rebel against Allah? How can you torture the believers?" Pharaoh, shocked by these unexpected words, said, "Maybe the madness that came to the woman we tortured has now come to you too." Asiya fearlessly replied, "Know this, I have believed in Allah, who is the Lord of you, me and all the worlds." Pharaoh then called Asiya's mother, his mother-in-law, and said, "Just like my daughter's hairdresser, your daughter Asiya has also gone mad." After that, Pharaoh said to Asiya, "Either you obey." Then he left the room. Her mother approached and tried to convince Asiya to obey Pharaoh. But Asiya firmly said, "O mother, if what you want is for me to rebel against Allah and disbelieve in him, then know that this will never happen." When Pharaoh heard that Asiya was determined, he went mad with anger. He ordered 4 stakes to be driven into the ground. He had Asiya's hands and feet tied to these stakes and left her under the burning sun to be tortured. After they left her there, the angels came and shaded Asiya with their wings. According to a narration, while Asiya was being tortured, Musa alayhi salam happened to pass by. Asiya tried to signal to him with her finger to explain her situation. Musa alayhi salam made dua to Allah to lighten her suffering. During this time, Asiya made dua, "My Lord, build for me near you a house in paradise. Save me from Pharaoh and his evil deeds, and save me from the wrongdoing people." Allah accepted her prayer and revealed to her, "Lift your head." When she lifted her head, she saw a palace made of pearls in paradise. She smiled immediately. When Pharaoh saw her smiling, he shouted, "Look at this crazy woman who laughs while being tortured." Before a heavy stone could be dropped on Asiya, Allah took her soul, the legacy of Asiya. The grave of Asiya is in Egypt. It is not known at what age she passed away. Allah mentioned the wife of Nuh alayhi salam and his disbelieving wife as examples for those who reject faith. And he mentioned the wife of Pharaoh and Maryam as examples for those who believe. They were given as examples of faith and determination to the believers of today. Because Asiya obeyed her Lord so much that even the presence of her husband, who was the most rebellious and distant person from Allah, could not harm her faith. Asiya was a waliya, a close friend of Allah, one of the siddiqin, the truthful ones. She chose to be killed rather than to enjoy a kingdom, and she chose to suffer pain in this world rather than to live in its luxuries. When even all the planets are together but you still feel alone, this channel is exactly for you. This video needs support to reach others like you before it gets lost in the YouTube ocean. Every subscriber helps reach another broken heart. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. You can also help our video reach more people by subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment, and liking the video.